I had a very interesting question asked of me the other day, with many people now concerned about a second civil war coming to our nation. I've been asked to recommend, believe it or not, what kind of nutrition is best for surviving, I guess, a civil war or social unrest or something like that. Now, the answer to this question is not as straightforward as you might think, because the first answer is that it is not so much nutrition as it is sterilization chemicals and such. You need, or sanitation. You need to be able to keep your body and your area, your living area, clean. And so more people die from infectious disease in war zones than actually die from, being shot or kinetic weapons, that kind of thing. It's the loss of electricity, the loss of functioning sewage systems. It's lack of access to water and soap that actually gets more people killed traditionally than anything else. So I'll talk about nutrition in a minute, but the real answer to this question is you want to make sure that you have some sterilizing chemicals on hand, which could be iodine or povidone iodine, rubbing alcohol, hydrogen peroxide. There's like a barbicide type of product that's good. There's bleach. I actually think that the solid bleach you can buy, I think, like little tablets for your pool or your toilet, 3-inch round. They're about the shape and size of a hockey puck, and they're solid bleach. They have a very, very long shelf life. So you could go to a pool supply store and you could buy a bucket, like a 5-gallon or a 7-gallon bucket of the 3-inch bleach tablets that are also, very, very good. And by the way, bleach kills Ebola. Bleach kills, viral infections, Marburg, bird flu. Bleach kills about everything. Not quite everything, but almost everything. So this is the first thing to keep in mind is make sure you have soap, make sure you have running water, make sure you have topical antiseptics so that you can clean a wound or wash your hands or wash a cut. In a war zone, you can die from a cut or a scrape. It doesn't have to be a gunshot. Just lack of access to basic medical care can get a lot of people killed, frankly. So make sure you have all these things in advance, and they're also barter items. So right now, for example, you can purchase at my store or other places nascent iodine. Well, iodine is a very powerful element. It's used in povidone iodine. It's used in various forms in emergency rooms and so on, and surgery prep and all these things, because you scrub it on the skin, and it kills bacteria and such. So iodine in various forms is very, very useful. I mean, water purification systems use iodine because iodine kills a lot of the things that can infect a water supply. Oh, speaking of water, you absolutely need to have a water filter system. This is crucial because catching, cholera or giardia or something else from unclean water, this can kill you in a war zone. You can die from diarrhea, by the way, and people do all the time, all over the world, because they don't have access to clean water, and they drink dirty water, they drink contaminated water, they get a bug, stomach bug. There are different kinds of germs that can be in the water, and they can kill you. And so we tend to overlook that because right now you probably have running water. You probably have access to a pharmacy. You can just go down to the corner store, CVS or whatever, and you can probably purchase, alcohol or some other antiseptic solution. But in a war zone, you may not be able to do that. So that's the first thing, is stock up on those things. You can even go to, you can go to Walmart if you want and stock up on a lot of antiseptics and so on. Just go to like the first aid section of their store, the sort of the pharmacy / first aid. You can find a lot of this stuff, rubbing alcohol, hydrogen peroxide, and so on. Antibacterial creams, triple antibiotic ointment. These are things to really, really, stock up on, in my opinion, and I stock up on them for the same reason. And I think that these are crucial. maybe I should go through a whole list of the kind of things I stock up on, but I've got a pretty big selection of antiseptic solutions for this very reason. They're, in a barter situation, they're worth more than gold. And for just, solving infections and halting infections, they are also priceless. Now, a lot of preppers stock up on fish antibiotics. And I want to mention a word of caution about fish antibiotics. On the positive side, it's true that fish antibiotics are essentially the same chemicals that you buy as prescription antibiotics. And I think there's been some attempted crackdown on fish antibiotics to make them illegal in some places, so I'm not entirely sure that you can get them all right now, but common antibiotics in the fish category include amoxicillin, for example. That's a very powerful antibiotic. Yes, it works. However, you need to know what you're doing with this stuff, because some of these antibiotics can kill you. The wrong dose, for example, or to have an allergic reaction in someone. You can't just throw these at someone like they're candy. You need to know what you're doing, and ideally, of course, get professional medical advice. Talk to a pharmacist or a doctor. Hopefully in your collapse group, your grid down group, you got a pharmacist or a doctor. Pharmacists will know a lot about the interactions of antibiotics and such. Doctors tend to know this information too. These people are experts on drugs. Like, doctors are generally speaking horrible at knowing anything about keeping you healthy and preventing disease, but they're experts on the toxicity of drugs. So you can hit them up for that information. Hey, doc, what's the dosing limit of this? And he'll tell you it's 50 milligrams per kilogram of body weight, whatever. So you do the math, and then you figure it out. But I'm just saying, you need to know what you're doing, and you don't want to just take a wild-ass guess when you're dosing someone with antibiotics. Just keep all that in mind. Now, getting to food and nutrition. Adaptogens are crucial in my opinion because you're dealing with stresses. So in a collapse scenario or a war zone, you're dealing with a lot of stress and usually a lack of sleep. So your immune system is compromised. So you're going to need immune support, you're going to need adaptogenic support, and you're going to need cognitive support. Some of this comes from minerals, such as zinc, for example. A lot of people are deficient in zinc and magnesium, and it's very easy to stock up on those minerals at very low cost. In other cases, you need adaptogenic herbs, in my view, such as ashwagandha, for example, or turmeric is one of my favorites. So I think it's a wise idea to stock up on turmeric powder. Turmeric is incredibly useful in lots of different ways. And essential oils should be your first aid medicine kit on top of other antibiotics or even Western medicine items that you might have, such as an EpiPen, for example. If you're allergic to bee stings and so on, or wine, you're allergic to something, you probably have an EpiPen right now. You should definitely stock up on EpiPens because you don't know, frankly, if you're going to be able to get more in a crisis situation or a civil war. Supply lines could be cut off. So this is, now in terms of just like straight calories and the bulk of food, believe it or not, one of the best things to stock up on is peanut butter. And in this case, I say get the plastic jars, not the glass jars, because the plastic jars don't break as easily and they're very, very portable, easy to move around. So go get a bunch of peanut butter jars. They last for years. They're full of calories, and you can put them on lots of things like bread and crackers and so on. Peanut butter is calorie rich. The other thing that you can do, and I've done some of this myself, is you can go get a food dryer, like a Excalibur food dryer, or maybe like a beef jerky drying machine. Some of the hunting supply companies sell the bigger ones for making, deer jerky or whatever, venison jerky. What you can do is you can go buy fully cooked organic sausages from the grocery store, fully cooked, mind you, and you slice them in half long ways. And what I do is I make a salt brine. I take Himalayan salt and water and just mix it up so it's super, super salty. I dip the sausages in the salt brine, and then I put them on the tray for dehydration. And what that does, the salt on the surface of the sausage discourages any kind of bacterial growth or anything like that. But it also gives you extra salt because in a collapse scenario, you may be short on salt. Salt is actually very hard to come by if you're not eating a lot of processed food. Salt used to actually be a lot more valuable than it is now because it was hard to get, and it was, without it, you're kind of screwed in terms of health. Salt has a multitude of uses. But anyway, you can dry sausages that way, and you can have your own like sausage jerky. And then you put it in a vacuum bag. You get like a little vacuum sealer, and you just vacuum pack that stuff, toss it in the fridge or the freezer, or just a cool, dry place to store it for years. So that's just a little bit of the information that you might find helpful. You can read more about this at survival.news or gear.news. This is all about survival gear and navigation gear, things like that. So I hope you found this useful. My name is Mike Adams, the Health Ranger. Thank you for listening, and be sure to check out more of my videos at real.video. It's the YouTube alternative. Real.video. You can also create an account there for yourself for free, and you can post your own videos. Thanks for listening.
Learn more at healthrangerreport.com.
Thank you for watching. If you want to support our mission, visit us at healthrangerstore.com for the world's largest selection of lab-verified superfood and nutritional products for healthy living. It's at healthrangerstore.com.